Three, two, one. Yo, hello everyone. Welcome to the
What's up,
next episode
everyone?
of the St. Clair and Romero show. This is episode 3. We are going to be talking about the Howling, but first, we are going to be watching the Jurassic World Dominion trailer
Well,
number
also,
3.
Dom, you keep forgetting to introduce, man.
Oh yeah. Oh my
S-
god. I give it just
no, I get you, I get you. But yeah,
we're going to get to the point, but yeah, I'm going to
well, I
introduce
mean,
myself.
people
Oh,
should
go
at
ahead.
least know. Anyways, it's the thing. I'm Eduardo Romero.
And I'm Dominic St. Clair.
There you go, real quick.
Real.
Yeah,
Like that. So,
exactly.
um, so before we get to the Howling, we're gonna do our top 3. But before we do our top 3, we're gonna watch this trailer and we're gonna react to it
Let's,
and see
yeah,
what's pop. All right, ready?
let's do this. You there?
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Let me know when you're ready. Are you ready?
Yeah. Ready whenever you are.
Okay.
Want to put it on full
Okay.
screen? Yeah, full screen.
Full screen. All right. All right. All right. Here we go.
Let's do this.
No, you had a baby. That's impossible.
Hey, girl.
You look just like your mother.
Literally, baby blue looks just like a little tiny blue.
Oh
I promise you I am gonna get her back. Genetic power has not been unleashed. We made a terrible mistake.
no.
The doomsday clock might be about out of time.
They're all back. Bro, this is cool.
All right. Watch this.
Like this is what we want. Yes. 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 Yes.
Oh my god, that shot. Look, Colin Trevorrow is uh not a very like visual, I don't know. Visuals aren't his strong suit, but that shot alone is fucking incredible.
To a dinosaur. Yeah. What?
Everybody hold on to somebody.
Dude, that's awesome.
Right?
Oh my god. Talk about creativeness.
What is that?
Biggest carnivore the world has ever seen.
Run!
See? Not so bad.
Oh man, that's good.
Oh man.
Yeah. What's you go
Awesome.
first, Dom. I don't want to start ranting.
Bro, let me tell you something. This
Uh-huh.
is what I think everyone's been wanting, right? Like
Definitely.
dinosaurs on Earth. Like
Yeah.
cause I Lost World, you have the T-Rex in San Diego. Like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
just a dinosaur in San Diego. But this is like all over the world and there's multiple dinosaurs. So you get to see dinosaurs and what is that? It looks like some part of Europe and like
Oh no,
they're
yeah. I think
chasing like yeah,
yeah, they shot all over the world. I think that's the Middle East actually.
oh the Middle East.
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy in the scooter, man. You know what's gonna happen to him.
Dude,
That
he
was
literally looked
funny.
like he had like his headphones on, like listening to his favorite songs, and didn't even like know they were or didn't even like notice the fucking giant carnivorous dinosaurs there.
Dude, I gotta say, like, I obviously haven't seen the movie, but I would love if the opening starts with Grant and the other girl. What's her name?
Ellie,
Ellie?
Yeah.
I would love it if the movie start with them just like in the first one where they're at the excavation site and they're like digging
Yeah.
out the fossils. That could be the opening, right? And
I don't.
then
Oh no, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
this is the way I'm hopefully they do, but like that's the opening. We get reintroduced to them. They're still doing their thing,
Hmm.
and then all of a sudden they hear not footsteps, but like noises, right? Like
Okay.
the glass is like in water. It's like it's shaking,
Right.
and then all of a sudden you see that dinosaur, the Brachiosaurus,
Uh huh.
I think, and it's just walking by them and just going straight, and they're like, "Oh no, what is this?" Like, I would love to see that reaction from them in the
Right.
opening, like they're
Yeah.
introduced.
Well, Jurassic World and Jurassic Park movies, usually even the books actually, they all kind of start with like a cold open. In the first movie you have the scene where they're loading the raptor, the second movie you have the family on the yacht, the third movie you have Eric and the stepdad paragliding. Jurassic World is actually the only movie that literally just starts with a shot of the Irex, the Indominus Rex.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only one that doesn't really have a cold opening, except for this one shot of the Indominus sort of like breaking through the eggshell, and then Fallen Kingdom, of course, has like one of the probably the best opening
Yeah.
probably in the whole series. I'd say it's up there with the original in terms of just how great the opening scene alone is. I think I don't know, man. Like what I really like about what I'm seeing about this movie is that they're really going for an epic scope. It's I don't know if
Mhm.
you know this or not, but it was actually confirmed that this is going to be the longest movie in the franchise, about 2.5 hours long. Um, and it looks like an epic. I mean, there's that shot where it's all it looks like there's something on fire in the background and everything is silhouetted and you see all these dinosaurs running in a panic, and then there's all those shots too where like it's just like blackness headlights and like the shadows of gallimimuses and triceratops like crashing into these cars. It's so far I'm enjoying the visuals a lot, I guess
Yeah.
is what I'm trying to say. But God, I'm sorry. Like I geeked out and I just fucking lost my train of thought there. What were we talking about?
We were talking about cold openings.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cold openings. Right. So I think the cold opening is going to set up what the big conflict is, because we don't really know what the overall story is going to be about. We do know that of course baby Blue has a baby, and at some point the baby gets kidnapped, and there's there's that funny line where Owen has the baby Blue strapped to his backpack,
Mhm.
and fucking Ian Malcolm goes, "Are you gonna? Are you taking a baby with you in the backpack to keep a promise to a dinosaur?" Something like that. I butchered it, but like, yeah, that's funny. Um, but yeah, I think it's gonna set up like what the big actual conflict is, and my personal prediction is that it's going to do with Biosyn, which I don't know. Do you know who Biosyn is?
Is it
It's
that
like InGen.
company?
Yeah, it's like InGen.
Yeah.
Well, InGen is who owns Jurassic Park, and Biosyn is like the rival company that's been trying to steal their secrets for years.
Mhm.
So I think it's gonna start with the sort of, yeah, we're setting up something with Biosyn, maybe something with the military. The Giganotosaurus is probably going to be introduced in the first scene, and after that, I think definitely we're going to cut to Baby Blue and Mama Blue running in the forest, and then that's going to be a rejoiner into the actual plot of the movie. As far as predictions, though, that's really all I got, man. Like, I remember when Fallen Kingdom came out, like the second trailer basically gave away the whole damn movie. Like it even
Mhm.
like had like the final shot of the movie in the fucking trailer.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that they didn't do that this time around. That there's still a lot up in the air, and I'm excited to go in and see how it ends.
Mhm.
How do you feel about it?
I feel good about it because I would like this to be the end. No more Jurassic Park movies after that. I just like this is it, and this is how they ended on a good note,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry to break it to you, but they already confirmed they have more movies coming after this one. But I don't think they're gonna come for a while though. Like the smart thing about the Jurassic World movies is that they only come along every couple years still. Which is actually smart considering what happened with Star Wars when they put out a movie, sometimes two movies a year for about, excuse me. Oh, wait, what happened?
Oh, we're here. That's
Okay,
right.
all right. Yeah, did you hear what I was saying?
Well, you were about to say something, but then you cut off. Because after I said that, um, this should be the end and leave it on a good note and no
Yeah,
more. Yeah, no more after that. That's my
yeah.
thought. But you're about to say something.
Yeah, I'm sorry to break it to you, man, but they already confirmed there's going to be more movies after this one.
Oh man, you
Yeah.
can't you can't do that.
Well, I mean, what I was saying while you were gone is that the smart thing about what Universal has done with the Jurassic World movies is that they still come out every like 3 to 5 years.
Mhm.
Um yeah, Fallen Kingdom came out in 2018, so 4 years since the last one. And I'm pretty sure they're at least going to give it another 4 years before they start anything back up again. Um but what do you think? What do you think? Well, you know what, man? I don't know. I don't know about you, but I don't really want to think too much ahead. Like this movie hasn't even come out yet,
Yeah.
so I don't want to predict what's gonna come after. What do you get? What are the vibes you getting from the trailer here about what the greater story is gonna be or some of its themes?
From what it looks like, I feel like there's gonna be the. I think the conflict, like, it's gonna be the concept of dinosaurs coexisting with humans. I
Uh
think
huh.
that's like an important thing about the movie. Besides the whole like biosyn, whatever. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's going to be another plot point in the movie. It's like, oh, how are these dinosaurs going to coexist with the humans,
Yeah.
and how we're going to, treat them, and how we're going to figure out a way to navigate through the carnivores and of course the vegetarian dinosaurs. How are we gonna
Mm-hmm.
do how we're gonna do this? You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
that's something that I think should be introduced in this movie since they're gonna be all around the world and everyone's gonna be like, whoa, dinosaurs! Like we never even like done this before. Like this is new to
Right.
us. You know.
Yeah, yeah, but I think yeah, that's definitely going to be the conflict. I mean, the movie's called Dominion, and definitely it's going to be a movie about the dominion of the earth, but also I don't know if you saw in the last trailer, but oh, excuse me. Sorry. In the last trailer, they had this shot of Alan Grant on a helicopter and he's looking down on this big like colony looking building and
Mhm.
all that. And so like that I have a feeling that like they're like the elites or whatever of the world are building like their own like Noah's Ark sort of thing. And Alan Grant is being taken there along with Ellie Sattler and Ian Malcolm. And I think that's where the third act is probably going to take place because, well, I really don't want to examine it too much, but the clues are there. And yeah, so and also like I said, I was referring to the shots of the burning background and the silhouetted dinosaurs running around. Yeah, like overall, it has a very apocalyptic vibe, a very kind of like end of days sort of thing. I'm predicting a very fiery ending to this all.
Mhm.
And if there's one prediction that I think is that I'm going to make right now, I think Blue's gonna die at the end of it. This is based
Uh,
on nothing other than storytelling rules, I guess. Someone big has to die, and we don't care enough about the new cast. We don't want to see any of the old cast die. And yeah, to me, it just makes sense that it's going to be Blues. So,
oh man, that's gonna be a sad thing though. Like I like
oh, of
Blue.
course it is.
It's I don't mind the new cast. I think what's his name, the guy who plays Owen. I think he did a
Yeah,
pretty good job. You know,
yeah,
I don't mind him. I don't mind some of the other people. Yeah, but like he's cool. But of course the old cast, the OGs, the legacy characters, they're definitely back in this, and everyone's wanting to see them too. So it's like
yeah.
even Ian Malcolm. I feel like to me this is what I'm predicting is that Grant and Ellie are on Ian Malcolm's side. Before in Jurassic Park 1, they weren't. He wasn't. They weren't on his side before, right?
Right.
Before the whole incident happened, they were like, "No, yeah, dinosaurs. Yeah, we need. Yeah, this is cool. Like, how?" And then Ian Malcolm says, like, "Listen, like, there's a reason why they're extinct. Like, there's a reason why they left. It's our time now. It's not their time anymore. Now,
Yeah.
if you bring them back into this society, it's not going to work out very well, and it's going to be chaos."
Yeah.
And it's a good. He does make a good point. And they just don't buy into it right at first, but then once the incident happens with the T-Rex, the Velociraptors, all the dinosaurs, it's like, okay, yeah, this is not going to work. And
Right.
so that's the way I see it. I think they're gonna be on his side and listen to more.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say that Ian Malcolm is easily my favorite fictional character in all media, in books and movies. I guess any games that he's in, but yeah, he's my favorite fictional character. Both in the movies and in the books. And one of the highlights of the book for me, especially the first one, is in the movie we all have a lot of like there's a lot of like quotable Ian Malcolm lines, right? Like good just lines here and there. In the book, there are entire pages that is just him going on like a good page and a half long rant. But like, and it always ties into chaos theory and complex systems and all this sort of like all the stuff he's talking about in the movie. And the way that it's written and the way that he relates it to stuff like in just kind of like relatable stuff to make it easier to understand, it's poetic, man. Like it's worth reading the book. I mean, you would like the book because it's a really good horror story, but B, just like reading his monologues alone, it makes the entire book worth it. They took little parts of it for the dialogue in this movie and a lot for Fallen Kingdom as well, but it's nothing compared to his speeches in the actual book. So yeah, man, I don't want Ian Malcolm to die. Like I said, he's my favorite character in all of fiction, and I think it's good to have a character who is unabashedly smart and whose intelligence is both his greatest strength and his greatest weakness. It's at least it's something to aspire to for us dorks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just feel like he's definitely right on certain things, but like you can tell like the relationship between Owen and Blue. There's like I think if like I said predicting, but maybe in the movie he sees that connection between dinosaur and human and how
Right.
there can be a relationship. There can be some sort of coexistence in some type of form, and that could be one of them.
You know what? That would be an interesting arc. I'm interested to see if they would do that. I don't know, man, but overall, I'm really looking forward. I'm really looking forward to this movie. I kind of feel a little iffy about Colin Trevorrow coming back. I mean, I think he did a fine job with Jurassic World. But like he's really hit or miss. He is really hit or miss, man. But he brought his A game to Jurassic World. He brought his like C- game to writing Fallen Kingdom. But I hope he brings it. I hope he brought his A game to this movie because when this guy actually puts effort in, he does some really great work. Not to like go too far off topic here, but I don't know if you know any of the details about because he was going to direct Episode 9 of Star Wars originally. And his version of the script, which was called The Duel of the Fates, from the song in Episode 1. So he was actually going to direct it. He wrote a script for it. He was going to direct it. He ended up dropping out of the project due to creative differences, but it is a superior sequel in every single fucking way. It actually would have been a great way. It would have actually redeemed the entire franchise, the sequels before it, if they would have done it. So I mean, I know he's capable of doing great work, and I really hope, like I said, I really hope he brings it to this one.
Absolutely. You know, there's a thing I think is when it comes to like Hollywood, like there's a lot of I'm not saying that Hollywood's not creative, it's just a lot of business, a lot of things going on the other side of creativity. And I really think that, there should be more creativity when it comes to the stories and the stories that they tell, stories we tell, and therefore, you're not satisfying yourself, you're also satisfying the audience, the people that come to see these movies. They want to see a tale that they want to see that makes sense in a storyline, and that is what they want, and cater to what the audience wants and the general moviegoers.
Right.
So that's the way I see it. And when it comes to
No,
stuff,
no,
like,
you're totally right. You're totally right. Not to like be too self whatever, like self promoting. But I did actually make a video essay over on my Pop Counterculture channel called Dark Middle Chapters, which is about The Last Jedi and Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. And my whole point of that video is basically that in the sort of like blockbuster comic book superhero driven like cinematic landscape that we made for ourselves, where it's all remakes and reboots and sequels to like long dead fucking franchises and all that. The when we set up that environment, it's our fault that we get movies that are as like frustratingly flawed as The Last Jedi and as Fallen Kingdom. Those are two movies that I really really like actually, but I think the problem with those movies is that you brought two incredible directors in Ryan Johnson and J.A. Bayona, and then they forced them into this mold that they just were not made to fit into. I explored in the video that I'm a big fan of Ryan Johnson. I've been a big fan of him since I saw Brick back when I was a teenager. So I've seen all his movies and I've kept up with him over the years. I remember a long time ago when he was interviewing for Looper, the movie he made with Bruce Willis. He said that he takes a long time to write a script because first he writes it out by hand, and that's where he does all his like editing and figuring out the story and all that. He does it by hand, and then he takes that and he transcribes that to like this proper screenplay format. And in the video, I showed that before The Last Jedi, he'd take 3 to 4 years to make a movie. And I'm assuming those two of those years alone were just spent getting the story perfectly based on what he said in interviews in the past. But with The Last Jedi, he was given 2 years to do the whole fucking thing, the write it, direct it, edit it, all of it. So what I guess what I'm saying is that like, yeah, I crave creativity too, and I think we all say that, but what the numbers show is that most people just kind of want more superhero movies and they want that sort of television style experience in the cinema, and that's not going to lead to director driven movies. That's going to lead to producer driven movies, and then at that point directors don't matter so much. So yeah, we did this to ourselves. I guess that's what I'm trying to say,
Yeah, it's a thing, like, when a big movie, or when a movie comes out, right? It's like maybe it's a bad movie, right?
Yeah.
It makes a lot of money. Well, depending on like say like a horror film, it's bad or something like that. Or it's just it's not everyone's taste. And it makes a lot of money. Well, they're gonna make a sequel because it made a lot of money. And they only listen to what the dollars come in. So they make the sequel does bad, right? They don't make another one. They're like, move on.
Right. Yeah. It's instead of exactly. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, cinema is an expensive art form, and expensive art forms require a lot of investors, and investors have demands, and that's just sort of the nature of film to some extent. Thankfully, there are studios like A24, Neon, Blumhouse, and all that are still out there, supporting great work. Even if it's a really low budget. Cinema is what it is, and every single year some like incredible movies are made. It's just that unfortunately not all of them get to be played in the theaters. So it is what it is.
Yeah, and it's like with us, like as independents, like we're so creative. We make the stories and we want to tell it, right? And we do our best to make it like so unique, so good that we put all our hard work into that, and instead of just hopefully we make a profit out of it. We just want to get it out. We just want to make it really good, and when we make something good, we make a good thing, then we release it to the world, and we want the world to see it. You know what I'm saying? And we want everyone to give feedback. We want to see their comments like, oh, I love the movie, it's so good. And then you also want to see those you know,
The
little
critiques, yeah, of
criticism.
course.
It's like, oh, I didn't like this part, I didn't like this part, but I did like this part.
Yeah.
And if you ever make a sequel or something, can you fix those things? And then,
Yeah.
maybe it'll make the film better. Okay, yeah, we'll see if we can look into that, and then, change a few things, and and we listen to our audiences more
Yeah.
than some of the big studios do. So that's what's most important for us as filmmakers,
The
in
smaller
my
the
opinion.
film, yeah, no, definitely. The smaller level, the more independent the filmmaker is. Trust us, like we're literally nobodies. We've each made like half a dozen movies. Like altogether, all my movies have like 6,000 views. All like actually like yeah, like six of them. They'll have
Mhm.
about 6,000 views, and one of them has like 2,000. So it has like the lion's share. So trust us, we're not doing it for the views. We're not doing it for the money. But yeah, check out our work, and it will be greatly appreciated. We love your feedback, even if you don't like it. We appreciate you giving it a shot.
Yeah, that's what it's all about,
Yeah,
really.
yeah. Give local filmmakers a chance.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead, go ahead.
Oh yeah. So, did you have anything else you want to mention on
No,
Dominion, or you good?
let's move on. Yeah.
All right. Let's move on to our top 3 list. So this top 3 is overrated directors.
Overrated
Oh
directors.
man.
Yeah. How about you
I
go
have.
to take the go? How about you start this one off?
Okay, I'll start this one off. All right. The first director that I feel is overrated is the man himself, Steven Spielberg.
Oof. Okay.
Yeah.
Get
No, no,
lay the
no.
case.
Everyone, don't get too mad. Don't get too hasty. Listen. Listen to what I have to say. The reason why he's on this list, it's not because of the great work he has done for the industry.
Mhm.
The directors he helped out, like he helped out Toby Hooper from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He helped out Joe Dante from
Right.
The
The
Howling,
Howling.
which you
Yeah.
saw. And they went on to do great things, and most of them, they do things here and there, and he's the one who brought in pop culture into film and spread it around the audience, and
The man has had an impact on cinema that is
yeah,
undeniable. No matter what anyone, I don't want to take away anything, but the man has had an impact. No doubt about it.
yeah, he made an impact, and I'm not denying that. But what I am gonna say is that the reason why I feel like he's overrated is because he has um made good films, made some films in there,
Mhm.
but like I feel like it's just that he's got so much attention that I think a lot of the directors out there who are making good work got the attention away from it from some people. I'm not saying that a lot of directors are not getting attention. I'm just
Uh-huh.
saying a lot of people look at Steven Spielberg a lot. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like he's the guy, and I'm not denying that, but
Yeah.
he's the only one. He's that person. I'm like, well, if you look at directors, like Robert Rodriguez, you look at Spike Lee, you look
Mhm.
at John Singleton, you got these people who are also in the mix that
Right.
also made some big impacts into the zeitgeist in the cinema.
Right.
And those people need to give a little more praise, I feel like. And that's why I think he's overrated.
I agree with you actually to some extent, but here's the thing: John Singleton, all the directors you mentioned. You know what's funny? They all got a favorite Spielberg movie, man, and I bet you they love the shit out of it. Like I mean, I agree with you to some extent that like yeah, he does get praised a lot, and but yeah, he has a very uneven cinema like what's that word I'm looking for here? A fucking very long, very uneven um history of work.
Mhm.
But the thing about Spielberg for me that sort of like just kind of keeps him above level is that he really does give every project his all, even like if he's like completely overdoing himself. I mean, let's not forget he made Schindler's List and Jurassic Park at the exact same fucking time.
Yeah.
He was going back to back, dude. Like, think about that. He made two of the best movies of the '90s, like within like going back to back between sets, basically. I think from uh, like over a couple months, and I think to some extent, like yeah, like he has a couple of like bad movies there, and yeah, maybe he does get a little too much attention, but at the end of the day. He is one of the best, kind of like James Cameron, like we were saying last week. Like
Mhm.
even if you don't consider Steven Spielberg one of your favorite directors, one of our favorite movies, one of everybody's favorite movies of all time is directed by the guy. Just like one of everybody's like favorite movies of all time is directed by James Cameron, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, except for Piranha 2, but I actually it's a guilty pleasure.
I guess, yeah. I guess you got to dig a little deep,
And
but yeah,
listen,
that counts.
I'm gonna take a jab at these people because some of those people they say, no, it's he didn't really direct it, he edited it. I'm like, nah, like come on, his name is on it. And listen, that's okay. Like
Right, right.
I'm not one of those people who are like hating on James Cameron. Like I love James Cameron, but
Yeah.
sometimes some directors make a pretty
Make
okay
trash.
movie.
They
Yeah,
make trash.
Wes
Yeah.
Craven, for example, he made I mean, the Scream. Everyone doesn't like. The majority of people don't like Scream 3, right? Wes Craven made that.
Yeah, yeah.
And
But
it's like,
Scream 3 is just such a it's such a weird fucking way to close out that trilogy, you know? And then like Nev Campbell has those bangs. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah, yeah.
It looks like she looks like Homer Simpson with like his hair combed down. Yeah, dude, unwatchable movies, 0 out of 10.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But after that, he made Terminator, and ever since then, he's been golden. So praise James Cameron for that.
yeah. Looking
Um,
forward to Avatar 2, man.
yeah, Avatar 3, 4, 5. Looks
Oh,
like.
let's
Yeah.
do it.
All
Yeah.
right, my next
Oh,
over.
wait. Let
Oh
me
yeah.
go.
Oh yeah, you can
Let's
go
go to
for yeah,
straight back and forth, right?
yeah.
So I was gonna start the list off with the Duplass brothers, but the thing is, to be overrated, you have to make a memorable movie, so they don't count. So my number three most overrated director is Wes Anderson. I like a couple Wes Anderson movies. I like Royal Tenenbaums. I like Grand Budapest Hotel. I think Rushmore is a pretty decent little movie. But everything else, like, man, I have tried with this guy. Dude. I remember I love the trailer for Fantastic Mr. Fox. I thought it was an incredible trailer. I was like, you know what, man, he's not my guy, but this looks really fucking cool. I wanted to go see it. And my girlfriend at the time, she watched it like a weekend before because she was a big Wes Anderson fan. And she said, yeah, you're gonna love it. Like it's not like anything else he's done before. So I was like, all right, cool. Like, because I don't like anything else he's done before. So I go and we go to see it, and I'm sitting there and I'm just so fucking bored, man. I'm just like, I don't know how to explain what it's like for me to watch Wes Anderson movies. It's like when you're talking to someone and they're smart, they're funny, and they're interesting, but you just can't like connect with them on any level whatsoever. Like there's just like a block there, and I don't know what it is, but there's just like a block with me on the majority of Wes Anderson's movies work. And a lot of it, dude, honestly, a lot of it for me is his fucking like his visual style is so fucking like twee and tedious and like precious. It's like oh god, how so this dude is a trust fund baby, by the way. Like he came from a rich family, and you could just tell, dude, this guy's visual style reeks of like someone who's never like encountered like any dirt, metaphorically or literally, on their own. And also like it just feels like he makes the same movies, like the same like three movies over and over, which I guess a lot of auteur directors do. But man, the thing is, a lot of auteur directors, they switch up their visual style. They try different things, like within the same story. And I just feel like this guy has three songs. It's like Bad Religion. Like he made three really good albums, and he just kind of releases them over and over again with new songs, like in a loop. Um, but the guy has his fans. A lot of my friends are big fans of Wes Anderson, so he's doing something right. It's just what he's doing right ain't working for me whatsoever.
That's a good take on that. I don't think I've seen a Wes Anderson film. And
Yeah.
that's maybe a good thing, maybe.
Yeah, no,
Maybe it's-
I don't think you would like Wes Anderson.
because
I don't
like you
think he's your
said,
style either.
yeah, like you said, I think like you say he grew up in rich family, right? So
Yeah,
maybe it's like if I don't see some sort of like edgy element, like dirty element or something like that,
yeah,
then it's like, okay, well, you clearly either weren't poor or you weren't middle class. You know
right,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? You know?
Yeah, and I mean, don't get me wrong. There are times where, like, super sterile visual style works for for something, but like even as something like THX 1138, which begins as such a cold and clinical visual, mechanical film, it eventually becomes really dirty, like almost Star Wars levels of dirty. Like George Lucas sort of has a thing for dirtiness, to represent like time and character and stuff like that. No, yeah, dude. Like, there's just times where you could like smell the fucking what's sort of the privilege of people through their work, through their personality. There's just something about people who don't know the struggle that sort of reek of it. And Wes Anderson movies are that as a visual medium.
Mhm. Nice. Okay, so my number two is, oh man, this is gonna make people mad, man.
Ooh,
Oh my
okay.
god,
Here we go.
Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, you do, bro. You have more balls than I do. You have more balls than I do, dude. Okay, go on. The fucking air it out, bro.
Okay, so Quentin Tarantino, man. So one of my favorites is Pulp Fiction. It's one of my
Same.
favorites,
Same.
but it's just sometimes when he's acting in a scene, it's like, okay, dude,
The
you're
boy
doing
loves his Edward. The boy loves
yeah,
his Edward,
I
dude.
know.
And he always casts himself as the guy who gets the Edward pass. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, and it's like, oh my god, dude, you're overdoing it. But like
Yeah.
there's some of the films he's done that I was like, okay, I'm not feeling it.
Right.
Once Upon a Time in
Oh, I
Hollywood,
hated that movie. I
I wasn't feeling
I
that.
hated. No, I did not just feel it. I hate that fucking movie. I think it is the most pretentious fucking thing. The most like old. You know what, dude? It's like watching that movie for me was like watching someone like an elder person that you really look up to, and then realizing, oh, they got dementia. Like they're not even fucking coherent no more. And just like okay, I'll let you go on. This is your segment.
Okay. Yeah, so the only thing good about the movie is the end. Where
Barely.
the yeah, barely, yeah, but it's probably one of my favorite parts out of the whole movie.
That's like the
Uh,
only part of the movie.
yeah.
That's like the only part of the movie that has
Yeah.
any impact whatsoever.
Yeah. But the rest of the movie is what? Like, what is
Yeah.
going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's incoherent and like, man, just like the whole what's her name? The
Margot
actress?
Robbie.
Yeah, Margot Robbie, but like the
Yeah.
character she plays. Like,
Go, bro, go. Yeah.
so her character, it's a real person. It's a
Real
real
fucking
actress she's
person.
played.
Yeah.
And she's in the movie, and it's like there's scenes that pop in here and there.
Right.
It's like she goes to the theater. She's privileged because she can watch her own movie without paying
I don't
ticket.
know, man. Her feet are pretty
Goes
dirty.
in,
Her
feet
feet are pretty
dirty.
dirty. Tarantino made sure you saw that. That boy loves his
Yeah.
dirty feet.
Dirty. And then all of a sudden you
Give me the
you go
dirty
back
feet.
and you go to the main plot of the story, and then
There's a main plot.
yeah, somehow I don't know, but then
I'm
all of
fucking
a
with you. I'm
sudden
sorry. Go ahead.
there's another scene with Margot Robbie. I'm like, what is this? Like, what? How is that even connected to the sort of quote unquote main story? How is this even
Dude.
connected?
You know what? Every time Margot Robbie on screen, all I heard was like Tarantino at 11 years old being like, and then there was this girl, and she was a really famous actress, and she was so cool. Her feet were so dirty. And then one time, she was pregnant, and then she got murdered. But she was so hot, dude. Like, oh my god, dude, so her feet were so dirty. Like that's what I see. Like whenever Margot Robbie is on screen, that's all I fucking hear in my head is just like this creepy fucking dude like obsessing over like because it has something to do with the fucking movie. Like if she was not in it whatsoever, right? Like the story would just be completely unaffected because nothing in the movie relates to anything. It's like it just like I said, it's like watching someone you really looked up to and cared about that's older than you and realizing they lost it. They are not all there like mentally. Like this person is like experiencing mental decline. I'm not saying Quentin Tarantino has dementia, but he's lacking these days.
Yeah, he's off his A game, but like, um, I mean, you did get a Death Proof cameo from what's his name? Kurt
Kurt
Russell.
Russell, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. So I want to expand on that a little bit because I agree with you about Quentin Tarantino. So, he was like one of my top 5 directors up until, and I watched whenever I saw a Tarantino movie in the theaters, I watched them multiple times. Um, And Inglorious Bastards, I watched that movie like I think 5 times in theaters because I loved
Amazing
it
film.
so
Amazing.
much. I was like so fucking like because I mean, who doesn't want to see Nazis get fucking murdered, right? Like
Yeah.
especially by Jewish people, and it's just so it was such an incredible fucking experience in the theater. I bought that movie on Blu-ray the day it came out. Dom, I have tried to see that movie maybe like a dozen times since it came out on home release. I fall asleep. Every single time I watch it at home, I fall asleep when I see that movie, you know? And I don't know what it was, right? So, anyways, he does that movie, and then he makes Django Unchained, right? And I watched the trailers, and I'm like, cool, man, cool. Like this Django, like this looks like a really cool movie. But then I started watching like Quentin Tarantino go on like BET and like all this like black media, black radio shows and all that, and he was just trying so hard to be black. He wanted to be black so fucking bad. And it was just such a bad look, especially with what I said earlier with like how he writes himself always as a character who gets the N-word pass. And now here he is, and like it's like 2012. This motherfucker's in FUBU. You know what I mean? like he's going on to like BT, and he's like acting black. Like it is funny. Like Cracked made a video showing like a bunch of these like in a compilation, and and in it, like you just see like Jamie Foxx be like, "What are you doing, Quentin? What you weren't like this on set, man." You know what I mean? And so, anyways, he did that movie, and then he did the Hateful Eight, and at first I was excited for it.
Yeah.
Again, the guy can cut a trailer. And then I started hearing a bunch of reviews, seeing a bunch of reviews, and they all said the same thing. Yeah, it's a pretty good movie, but it's long, and it all takes place indoors. Like 90% of the movie takes place in like one of 3 rooms, you know? And I'm like, it's a 3-hour movie. It's a 3-hour movie. And it's almost entirely in interiors. That's a fucking play. That's not a fucking movie, dude. That's a play. So he enlisted one of the most talented fucking cinematographers of the time, right? He shot on 70 millimeter film. He shot on 70 millimeter, bro. And then he shot all. Just think about that for a minute. Think about the wasted fucking like resources on it's a play. It's a fucking play, Quentin. That's not a fucking movie. You know? Go outside. Go write a scene that takes, you know what I mean? Like it's so anyways, so he lost me with Django, he lost me with Hateful Eight. I go to see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and dude, like I said, I hated that movie. I literally hated it. I was stoked until like about 45 minutes in. Quentin Tarantino was like crying in front of this little girl, and I'm watching with my homeboy Neil, and I turn around and be like, "Mother, dude, what the fuck are we watching? What is this? What's this fucking movie?" And yeah, dude, one of the most disappointing, like top 3 most disappointing, heartbreaking cinematic experiences of my life. So again, you have more balls than I do. But I might actually, you know what? I think with my next pick, I might have you beat. So unless you got anything else more to say about Quentin, I'm ready for my number 2.
Yeah. Last thing I want to say about Quentin is, man, um, he's definitely declined a little bit.
Yep.
When it comes to his films, he definitely needs a little break and try to figure out like really deep look into what he's gonna write next.
I agree, man.
Because if he takes a step back and say, "Hey, hold on a second, I'm out of control.
He's
Let
one of the
me,"
best.
yeah,
He's
and
one of the best.
yeah, and say, okay, what's the next film I should write about? And take my time, really look at it, and rewrite it. Hey, this is right. Just take your time. You know what I'm saying? Don't rush it. Don't expect to like release a movie within the next year. Throwing whatever you can at the wall and doing these random ass shit in the movie.
Going crazy with the high budget, man.
Yeah. So yeah, just take a step back from the director's chair for a bit, reevaluate yourself, and figure out what you're gonna do next, and
Right.
plan it better, and make sure it's a
Good.
really good classic Tarantino film.
Yeah, please make your, because supposedly his next movie is going to be his last one. I just want him to make a good fucking movie. Focus, fucking focus again, man. No more of these fucking scenes that, I mean, let's face it. Like ever since fucking Inglorious, or not even ever since Death Proof, all his movies have been like what, fucking 20 minutes of fucking dialogue and like 2 minutes of violence. And don't get me wrong, it's great dialogue, great tension, great storytelling. Right? It's all great. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
There's a reason I watched Inglorious Bastards 5 times in the fucking theaters, right? Like, but you got to do something more, man. Like we know you can do it. We know we know you could just fucking talk and talk and talk and make it fucking awesome. Like that's great. That's a great talent to have. Go make a movie, man. Go make a movie. Go do like a fucking scene that plays out with nothing but fucking sound effects and music, my man. I know he can do it. You know?
Yeah, that I agree. All right, so let's move on to yours.
Okay, man. You might have bigger balls, but I might have a bigger dick because my number 2 is Christopher Nolan. Everybody who's ever like worked with me, who's ever worked with me on a project, has heard me rant about Christopher Nolan, and that's because I have a very complex relationship with the guy. Okay, kind of like Quentin Tarantino. He was one of my favorite directors ever, like for a very long time. I thought he was a genius. You know, I thought he was brilliant. I thought he was the fucking best in the game. Like nobody can touch him. You know. And then I saw Inception. I fucking loved it. I thought it was like to this day, the first time I watched Inception was like one of the best cinematic experiences I ever had. Right. So I go to see it. The next day I'm at work and I'm talking to my coworker about it and I get him all riled up. He goes, sees it. And then that next Monday, we're talking about Inception. And keep in mind, man, like the thing that I liked about Inception when it came out, it was that I thought it was a very deep movie. It was a very deep, complex movie and all that shit, you know? So me and him are talking. And then we're like, and then he's like, hey, Inception was pretty good. I was like, yeah, well, he's like, hey, so dreams within dreams, huh? And I was like, yeah. So it's like one dreams and then time dilates as you go. You know, he's like, yeah, that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. And what I'm getting at is that what I realized was that this is a boring movie to talk about. And that's weird because usually great movies are fun to talk about. And so I went to go see Inception again, and dude, it was like watching a totally different movie. It was one of the worst cinematic experiences I've ever had, like because it was kind of like that scene in Wizard of Oz where like it's the man behind the curtain the whole time. Like I saw like within Inception, it's like no, like this guy doesn't make complex movies. He makes like simple movies that he like makes complex for like no reason. You know what I mean? And like my biggest problem with Inception, right, is that the whole point of Inception, the whole reason why he made that movie, the whole reason you watch that movie is so that you understand how Inception works. That's it. That's all you get out of it. There's literally nothing else to talk about when it comes to Inception other than how Inception works. You know what I mean? So like it's a movie that has all this complex ideas and all this like crazy visuals and all these complex concepts working within each other. But at the end of the day, with all that effort, all he managed to do was make a puzzle and then make a movie about how awesome and complex that puzzle is. And it's like, when
Mhm.
puzzles are great, I like puzzles, but once you're done putting one together, there's like nothing really to talk about. Like Inception is a cool movie to watch, but it doesn't hold up to like any repeat viewing because all you do is just like explain all a repeat viewing of Inception does is explain the first viewing of Inception better. You know,
Mhm.
there's nothing more to learn about the characters. There's nothing more to learn about the themes. It's just making it easier to understand. And I don't want to go film by film after that. But I will say that Dunkirk is a better movie. I think he has a really bad habit of being obsessed with how he can fuck with time in movies to the point that like all his movies are just like basic thrillers with some sort of like time gimmick to it. I do like Dunkirk, but I think its biggest weakness is that he comes up with this convoluted time thing where like one story takes place over like 48 hours, one takes place over 10 minutes, one takes place over like a few hours,
Mhm.
and it's cool, but like it does nothing for the story. It literally does nothing to make the story better. It's just there to make it more complex and harder to follow. And and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with complex movies and all that. But if you're gonna be complex and shallow, then just tell like a cool little kick-ass story with like cool action and like the basic characters or something. Don't have all these greater themes. You know,
Mhm.
either
Mhm.
either make something smart or don't. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan. I would say like the only film that I liked from him was Dark Knight.
That's his
Um,
best movie. Well,
yeah.
The Prestige and The Dark Knight to me flip back and forth because I think The Prestige is his most like honest film, in my opinion.
Mhm. Yeah. But yeah.
And
Oh, sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
Other than that, yeah, I think he's like you said. Yeah, he's trying to make smart movies, but he thinks it's smart. But
Yeah,
really, it's just simple. At the end of the day, I think a regular audience moviegoer will be like, "Yeah, I understand that."
yeah.
Um,
I'm sorry. Go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, I would say, yeah, but yeah, but like his movies, yeah, it's he's obsessed with time. The enemy is time, I
Yeah,
guess. Like it's like, oh,
and yeah,
it's like, oh yeah, time is our enemy, and this is our villain. So let's go with it.
right.
And I feel like he does that, so then he doesn't create like a villain that is a real villain. You know what I'm saying?
We're
Like an
talking about
actual
Tenet.
talking, like either a person
Yeah.
that is convoluted or whatever, that is a good villain, right?
Mhm.
Instead, he uses this time element, which is like
Right.
time is the villain. You
Uh,
better do this before you run out of time.
Are
Go,
you
go,
talking about
go.
Tenet or
Um, both
Inception?
Tenet and Dunkirk.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
haven't seen Tenet yet, but yeah.
it's cool, but like yeah,
Everybody
time.
said. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I liked it, but it was like, yeah, it's cool. It's another like
It's a Nolan
pure.
movie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But anyways, what were you saying?
No. That's all I said. It's a Nolan movie. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Uh, I'm gonna go grab a beer really quick.
Mhm.
I'm done. Do you want to say anything more about Nolan?
No, no, that's all.
Okay, I'm gonna grab a beer really quick. I'll be right back.
Okay, coming right back, everybody.
All right, I'm back.
All right.
All right, let's hear your number one, homeboy.
My number one goes to the so-called master of horror, Wes Craven.
Ooh, okay. You're gonna have to lead this one.
uh, why did you pick this one? Why, you ask? Well, unfortunately, here's why. The original Last House on the Left
Uh-huh.
is nothing but a shock factor
Okay.
instead of a story. I watched that film and I was like, wow, these scenes, little rape scenes and these violent deaths, like, oh wow, that's okay. But overall, the film was just, whatever.
Mhm.
It's just it's like what's that movie called? I Spit on Your Grave, the original.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's like that, it was that type of movie, it's like rape revenge, but it was okay.
Mhm.
So what I'm trying to say is he made films that are okay. Or
Okay.
to me at least, that I was like, yeah, that could have been a little more to it, story wise.
Okay.
A lot of people, especially a lot of people, say like their least favorite Scream movie is Scream 3, and he directed it.
Right.
And then there's a film, what's that film called? It's Deadly Friend. He made
Okay.
a film called Deadly Friend. It's about a robot that is violent, and then this girl dies, and the one of the lovers, he takes the robot chip and
Mhm.
plants it in the back of her, and she becomes the robot.
Okay.
So like she's like controlled by the robot, but she still has the memories of herself,
Okay.
and she gets revenge on the people that killed her and tormented her. Um, there's a scene where it's not really a spoiler, everyone knows it. It's like she grabs a basketball
Yeah.
and she throws it really hard at this woman's face in her head,
Yeah.
and it explodes and like all chunks fall out,
Yeah.
and it looks so bad, but it was funny because like the body was just like wiggling around, like going on the floor, and it's like wiggling as if it
Yeah.
was still alive. Yeah, he's made some pretty okay movies in my opinion, the way I see it, because um he's not he does every not like James Cameron. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
Right.
he's
Right.
not
Right.
the James Cameron type of dude where it's like every film he's like boom, boom, boom. Oh, right,
Yeah.
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 It's like, well, obviously I said Piranha 2, but like that's his first one. But after Terminator, it's like he was on a roll.
Right.
Whereas Wes Craven, it was like, yeah, he did a good movie here, did a good movie here, and then he did a bad movie, then he did a
Would
bad
would
movie, or did
would you say that Wes Craven is like the Steven Spielberg of horror?
I would say he is in a way. He is, but like it's just the thing about Wes Craven is he is a genius when it comes
Mhm.
to writing horror scenes. Like he's like everyone tells the story like he acts like a professor. Like he'll like explain the scene. He's like, okay, this is what you're gonna do. This is how it's like orchestrated. Like he'll go into it, right, to his actors, and he'll go into like a he'll like it's like he's teaching a class,
Right.
So he's really good at like doing like making scenes and making those types of horror scenes.
Mhm.
Nightmare on Elm Street is my favorite
Yeah.
from him. Obviously, he wrote number 3. He wrote Nightmare 3, but he didn't direct it. He didn't have full
Mhm.
control. So he didn't do except for Wes Craven's New Nightmare. He actually written and directed that, and that was
Uh-huh.
pretty good. So but yeah, he doesn't boom 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 hit after hit. It's like sometimes he falls down a little bit, but he picks himself back up. He
Right.
does pick himself back up, and you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm not as familiar with Wes Craven as I would like. But I mean, I've seen God, honestly, I think I've only seen the Scream movies and Friday the 13th Part 1. I mean, uh
Mhm.
Nightmare on Elm Street Part 1. I'm sorry, I
Mhm.
blanked out there for a minute. So yeah, I've
Mhm.
only seen Nightmare on Elm Street in the first 3 Scream movies. I don't know too much more about his work, but I do know the reputation he has for sure. Um, so yeah, no, man, I don't really have too much to add to that. You want to keep going with that?
Yeah, so um, it's funny because him and Sean S. Cunningham, he directed Friday the 13th, the original.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
And Wes Craven directed and written. Well, Sean didn't write Friday the 13th, he just produced and directed. But Wes Craven, he written directed Nightmare. So they both created the two horror icon slashers of all time.
right.
Well, technically, Sean didn't. He didn't want, like, the way the story goes is like Sean didn't want to create a horror icon in the first place. He just wanted to make a dumb slasher movie, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he did that, but then when the movie was successful, he was supposed to be hired to direct the number two, which involved Jason.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows Jason, so
Right.
he didn't like that. He was like, "No, I don't like Jason. What?
Really?
Like, yeah, he
Okay.
hated Jason."
So what was the mom
Um,
supposed to come back for the second one as a killer or what?
No. So what the original intent was supposed to be anthology. So like
Uh-huh.
every Friday, every movie is set on Friday 13th, and it's a whole nother horror story. It's a whole nother story. So
Hey,
it's
that
like
actually sounds really cool. Like I
yeah,
would,
yeah,
yeah, I would
yeah,
have been down for that. Anthology and horror go really well together, in my opinion.
yeah, yeah. Especially like if it's like every movie's a different story. Like I don't think that's been done before, right? Like it was like every movie.
I
Well,
know,
except for like.
Halloween 3. I know
Mhm,
Halloween 3 was like supposed to be its own thing.
mhm.
But not that I know of, at least. No horror movies series has been like an anthology.
Yeah.
Well,
So
no, wait, fuck. Oh god.
Creep Show. Maybe
Creep
Creep
Show.
Show. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Creep Show. That's the one I was thinking of, but I
yeah,
haven't seen any of the Creep Show movies.
yeah,
Hey, by
yeah,
the
yeah.
way, just real quick, I got AMC Plus, which
Mm.
includes Shutter. So if that's on there, I'll tell
Oh
me. I'll
yeah,
fucking watch that shit, dude. I don't give a fuck.
yeah, yeah. The movies, but like the original and Creep Show too. That was good.
Yeah.
But they have their own series, which is cool because it's like Tales from the Crypt.
George
Creep Show.
George Romero did one of them, right?
Yeah, he did one before he passed, or yeah, he did one of them, and then
Oh, really? On one of the new ones?
yeah, so it was one of the older, like season one maybe.
Okay.
And then but then after that, like of course, like a bunch of other guys came in and they wrote
Damn.
some stuff.
Hey, you know what, Dom? They're one of these days we got to do like a series on the last couple movies of George Romero because like there's got to be something there because like those were all independent productions, right? All the last couple George Romero movies,
Yeah, I think
self-funded,
all of them. Yeah,
all of
all of
them.
them have been
Yeah,
funded. A Night of the Living Dead. That was like that
self-funded.
he
Well, I mean,
didn't.
all of them.
Yeah,
Night, Dawn, Day. I think Land is the only one that was studio funded.
yeah, yeah.
And I like Land. A lot of people don't like Land. I really like
Mhm.
Land.
Yeah, I like Land too. I like I like Night. I like Dawn. I like Day. Um,
Dawn is
I
fucking
will say my
classic though. Like a lot of people say Night of the
favorite.
Living Dead is or a lot of people say Night of the Living Dead is the classic. Nah. Maybe Night of the Living Dead is the classic, but Dawn of the Living Dead is like the epic. You know what I mean? Hello, Dom?
Snyder.
Hello.
Oh yeah. Hello.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah,
So yeah. It's the two Dawns are my favorite. Zack
dude,
Snyder
yeah.
and
That's
George
the
Romero.
only Zack Snyder movie I like.
Yeah.
That's the only one I like, dude. Everything else that dude's made is trash. But the Dawn of the Dead remake fucking rules.
Yeah. And I like the original too.
By the
With
way,
Mhm.
that's another God. Oh fuck, we talked about Peacekeeper on the first Peacemaker on the first. That's the James Gunn script,
Yeah.
the Dawn of the Dead remake.
Mhm.
Just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Just James Gunn wrote it, and what's his fuck, Zack Snyder, he
Yeah.
directed it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But the original George Romero film, that's good too. I like that.
Dude, I
It's a
love the original. That's one of my favorite zombie movies right there.
yeah. And there's like different like quick shot factors, like a head explosion that happens in there.
I
Like,
I used to have that legendary 4-disc DVD box set with the 4 different cuts.
oh
With the
yeah,
director's cut, the original theatrical cut, the European cut, and then like the restored cut. And then it had like a no, okay. 2 of those were on the same disc, and then there was like a whole disc of special features. Dude, the special features about the making of the movie were so fucking cool. Like Nicotero is in it
Mhm.
too.
yeah.
And he goes all in detail about how they made all those effects. Man, fuck, dude. I wish I never lost that. That's
Him,
like a rare DVD. That's worth a lot of money these days.
yeah,
But yeah, Shout Factory re-released it, right?
yeah. Shout Factory, yeah, they
They
released it.
re-released the whole 4-disc set.
Yeah, they
I gotta
should, they
get that.
should.
I gotta get. I
Um,
want. I got a
yeah.
blue. I got a PS5, bro. I gotta get that on fucking 4K.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned. Yeah, Nicotero and Tom Savini worked together on that.
Savini, yeah, that's
Yeah,
the other guy. He
yeah,
was the leader of the bike gang.
yeah, yeah, and he also did the effects too.
Yeah,
So
dude. Okay, I'm sorry.
yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say yeah. I was saying Tom Savini was on top. He was the
Yeah,
number one special effects makeup person to go to.
he's
After
he's
Dawn, he did Friday 13th. He did The Burning. He did The Prowler. And after that, he did Friday 4, which is the final chapter. And then he did Day of the Dead. And then he
yeah.
did
Nicotero came back for all
yeah,
the Dawn of the for all well up to Land of the Dead. I don't think he came
yeah,
back for the
yeah,
straight to DVD ones, but yeah.
yeah. Yeah, and yeah, Tom went. Yeah, he was the number one guy, to go to for special effects. He was on the Letterman or something like that, right?
Oh,
He was
okay.
he was not, he was top, like he was on top. He was one of
No,
the
dude.
biggest.
Yeah. Yeah, Savini and Nicotero. Well, I mean, I don't know much about Savini. To be honest, I don't know too much about the makeup effects world. But I do know that Nicotero went on to have a pretty good career in The Walking Dead,
That's his
uh,
biggest. Yeah,
as the director of some of the best episodes, in my opinion. Also, some of the worst. But there's a lot more worst episodes than there are good episodes. So that's
Mhm.
statistically likely.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, he's done a lot in his career.
hmm
I think more than Tom, honestly. He's done a Friday film. He did a
Right.
Friday 13 film. He was on Army of Darkness, the Sam Raimi film. He was in a bunch. He was in a film called Intruder.
hmm
Have you seen that movie? It was
No.
like it's a slasher movie, but it was set in a store, right? A grocery store, and it's like this killer that's killing people in the store, and the effects in there was fucking phenomenal. But
Okay.
yeah, he was on a bunch of projects, and he had a good career. Walking Dead was his biggest one.
Right.
He's on Creep Show, so he's on a roll.
Does he
So
direct on Creep Show too?
I think so. Yeah, he should.
Ooh,
And
fuck yeah.
produces. He also
Dude,
produces.
I,
Yeah.
I love having Shutter. I love it. You know what, dude? Like, here's the thing.
Mhm.
I love horror movies. I do, but I'm not like a horror guy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a guy who like primarily likes horror and then likes film. I love film and then I love horror within film. Uh, so like, if I don't have like Shutter in front of me, like I'll just go months without seeing horror movies. So I'm glad to have it. Shutter, hit us up for a promotion, baby.
Yes. Yes.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
Shutter. Yeah, yeah.
Go
And
ahead. Go
Shudder,
ahead.
yeah. Shudder's like the Netflix for horror films. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like Netflix has horror films, but it's obviously like mixed genres. But
Yeah.
like Shudder's like the definitive. Like, if you want to see a bunch of horror films streaming on a site, you gotta go to Shudder because that's
Right.
where it's at.
Mhm.
I don't have Shudder, unfortunately. I want to get it.
Yeah.
But I do have Netflix and stuff. But I will get that soon,
Right
hopefully,
on.
and we'll
Yeah.
watch some films on there. Speaking of horror films, did you want to go to the next one?
Yeah, actually, I don't know how you knew I was going to pick a horror director, but because we did discuss this before the show.
I didn't know.
But
That's
yeah, listen, Dom, the other two directors, I thought they were overrated. I think they did good work, but I think they're overrated. My number one pick is the most miserable fucking excuse for a filmmaker I have ever seen. His whole fucking thing, dude, is to be as pedantic and tedious as fucking possible. He makes the most boring, lame, cheeseball versions of horror and thriller movies that anybody could imagine. Maybe, you know what? Wes Anderson may have been a trust fund baby, but at least his movies have something to them. This guy, if we're talking about how of somebody's films reject their outer world in terms of how they struggle, this guy must have never even fucking had a cut. He never even had to put on a bandage by the way this guy makes movies. The person I am talking about is Jeremy Saulnier. Do you know who this guy is?
No, what's he done?
Green Room, Murder Party, and Blue Ruin. Have you heard of any of these movies?
Green Room. I heard of
Okay,
Green Room.
have you seen Green Room?
No, I haven't seen it. I just seen it on the streaming sites on demand.
Right. Okay. So I fucking hate Nazis, as I mentioned earlier. We were talking about Schindler's List, and I love punk music. I grew up listening to punk music, as a teenager and all that. So Green Room should be like a fucking slam dunk for me. It should be one of my favorite fucking movies. This is not my first movie podcast. All right. A long time ago, I had another podcast, and we did listener requests on it. And the first listener request was Green Room, Jeremy Saulnier's Green Room. And Dom, oh, my fucking god, I was so miserable. This movie's like an hour and 40 minutes long, right? An hour into it, I thought we were like 2 hours in. This is like gonna be a 2.5 hour movie. I was I was only like an hour into it. I had a whole other 40 minutes left. It's the most tedious, boring fucking excuse for a thriller, and a lot of people like it. That's the thing. A lot of people think Jeremy Saulnier is a talented director, and to me, I don't even know how this guy has a career. He's so bad in like the most obvious ways possible. Okay, let me lay down an example, right? Like, so his whole thing is realism. Like he's all about realism. His whole thing is that, like, of course, if someone like you or me, right, were to be caught in like a murder fucking plot, or in the middle of a drug deal gone bad, we would probably do a lot of stupid things, make a lot of stupid mistakes, and get ourselves killed, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's true, because and that's true, and like that is an idea, you know. But here's the thing: we have examples of filmmakers who do that fantastically, in and out. Like, all their movies are basically that idea. The Coen brothers, right? So Jeremy Saulnier is trying to do what the Coen brothers do, and making movies about everyday normal people who get caught in these fucking elaborate criminal schemes that are way above their heads, and they do stupid things that get them killed, you know. But here's the thing: like, that's all his movies are about. That's all it is. All Green Room is, the whole movie is just about how these people are not equipped to deal with this threat, right? But here's the thing: what I mean when I say this guy is pedantic is that, like, his idea of tension is some of the stupidest fucking things I've ever seen. His idea of escalation is literal escalation, right? Like, so the biggest problem with Green Room is that Patrick Stewart plays the bad guy in it, right? He's the villain. And you have Patrick Stewart, one of the greatest actors of all fucking time, right? Dude, I swear to fucking God, half the time he's talking from behind the door. So whatever he's saying, you can't really understand it because he's muffled up with the judges on. You know what I mean? You take this amazing actor and then you take away his ability to be even understood. You know, and a good director, a talented director, could have done something really interesting with that, right? Or as a way to build tension. But that's all Jeremy Saulnier does. He just makes it hard to understand the guy. And it adds nothing to the fucking movie. It adds nothing to the scene. It's just obnoxious because you got Patrick fucking Stewart playing your villain, and you can't even understand what the fuck he's saying half the time. It's stupid, you know. And then the whole thing about Patrick Stewart's character in this movie is that he's supposed to be this criminal mastermind who just outsmarts these poor fucking punk rockers at every fucking turn. But, like, the thing is, the way you build tension throughout a movie is by escalating the conflict, right? Is that you start, like, at the beginning of the movie, you start with an action scene, and then every action scene after that has to be bigger, more epic, and more intense, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's like all he. But like his version of this, his version of escalation has nothing to do with motivation. It has nothing to do with the visual language. It has nothing to do with style. It has nothing to do with moving the plot forward. All that happens is that every time, like the movie is set up like an action scene happens. These people are stuck inside this room with this like gang leader's drugs. And every scene is like he tries to peacefully get them out of there. They say no. Then he sends like two strong guys, right? And that doesn't work. So he goes back and he talks to him, tries to get him to come out peacefully. That doesn't work. So the next time he sends four guys over. And then they eventually they beat that somehow. So then the next time Patrick Stewart comes out and he tries to peacefully talk them out of that room, and that doesn't work. So then he sends six guys over and two dogs, and then that doesn't work. So then Patrick Stewart comes back, and then he says, you know what I mean? Like it just goes
Yeah.
on and on and on and on. It's the same fucking thing. And it's so stupid. And then just to like close my case here. I know I've gone on a little bit about this guy, but I really don't get how this motherfucker has a career. He's so bad. Okay, in Blue Ruin, and this is what I mean by tedious, right?
Mhm.
In Blue Ruin, the movie is about a guy who is getting revenge for the murder of his sister at the hand of a mob boss, right? And there's a scene, like in the second act, where the guy is in the bathroom. He's in the bathroom stall, and he's contemplating just going up to the mob boss and stabbing him, right? But instead, the mob boss walks into the bathroom, and he's like just doing his hair, and the guy has an opportunity to stab him right there, but he drops his keys. You know what I mean? And it's like clearly like this is a good opportunity to build tension. But what does Jeremy Saulnier does? This is what he does. I swear to fucking God, dude. He drops the keys. We cut to a close up of the guy of the mob boss. He's like, "What was that?" And then we cut to a close up of the guy in the stall being like, "Oh fuck, I hope he didn't hear me." And then we cut to a close up of the keys. And then we cut to a close up of the mob boss being like, "What was that?" And then we cut to a close up of the fucking guy in the stall being like, "I should get my keys." You know, it's like the same fucking thing. Like he shows the same things over and over. And then eventually he picks up the keys. And then you know what happens next, Dom?
Hmm.
He drops the key again.
Mhm.
I swear to God, dude. I swear to God. And people call this guy good. He drops it, and it's the same shit. A close up of the mob boss being like, "What was that?" And the guy being like, "I should pick up my keys." And then the keys sitting there. And it just this is this dude's whole thing. He's boring. He's pedantic. He's lame as shit, dude. And he's just redundant. And I genuinely do not like this dude. I'm pretty sure he's a really nice guy and he's really cool and he pets puppies all day and gives money to the orphanage at whatever city he lives in all the fucking time. I'm sure he's a great fucking guy. His movies are fucking awful and I don't know why this guy has a career and why anybody supports him.
And I have nothing to say. I'm not familiar with his movies, but from what it sounds like, it's
It's bad.
yeah, it's how do I say it? Like it's bad. It's just a bad. Is just a nice way of saying it, or a bad way
Yeah.
of saying it. It depends. But what I'm trying to say is it's redundant slash how do I say it? It's unproductive. How could I say it?
Exactly.
Maybe I say it like
boring
that.
it's just boring to watch, man. I do not like his movies one bit. But that is my top three overrated
Okay.
directors list. Dom, do you want to go ahead and tell us what our top three is going to be for next week?
Yes. Whew. All right. So our top three is going to be top three underrated directors.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right, cool. Let's go the other way.
Yeah, we're going the other way. So I
Yeah,
took
we
that
went
back.
a
Yeah,
little on the
let's.
negative side. Let's bring it back up to the positive.
Yep. So that's going to be next week. But before we head to next week, we got the Howling.
The Howling. All right, man. And before we do the Howling, I'm going to take a piss break, and I'll be right back.
All right. We'll be back, everybody.
doing, Daria? Dang, hold on. Oh, wanna go outside? Wanna go outside or what? Huh? Here. Okay. You're okay. You wanna go outside? Or you wanna stay inside? Here, I'll let you go outside. Hold up. That was on camera. Okay, I'm back.
Yeah. All right, everyone, we're back. So let's start with the Howling. So, who should go first? You want to go first, or I go first?
Yeah. I'll go first.
Okay.
So I don't have my note in front of me. I don't know where I put my notebook last night.
Mhm.
But yeah, The Howling by Joe Dante. So this is both of our first times watching this movie. So I will say that this is a very good looking movie. I think the visual effects are fantastic. I think the first act of the movie is legitimately great. Unfortunately, I think once we enter Act 2, the pacing gets really weird and the structure is really weird. And I really didn't think there was a whole lot of character development going on. What did you think, Dom?
Yeah. It's just the whole character development thing. Even the main actress, I think.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much character development. It was it's like the whole movie. She's trying to like the whole thing about her is like she's trying to remember what happened
Right.
in LA and in that porn room. Um, and that's it. It's just like, and she's like complaining about like, oh, and then her boyfriend or husband or whatever is just wanting to get laid and
Right.
and but he still cares for her in a way you can tell he's probably a good guy, I guess.
Yeah.
The two other characters that work with her, they start digging in, finding out the origins of werewolves and
Mm-hmm.
how to defeat one, how to spot one, or something like that. And they read a book about it. Finds out that you can use silver bullets to kill a werewolf. So silver bullets exist in this world
Mm-hmm.
to kill werewolves.
Yeah.
And then and that's the movie. It's pretty much just I don't know if it's a spoiler. It's like you find this out, I guess, towards the end, right? Like it's like
Well, if it's towards the end, let's say before the spoilers.
okay. So,
Yeah.
let's talk about the so-called. I don't want to say so-called, but let's talk about like the that one guy that she always talks about, right? It's
Eddie
like Eddie. So
giving us all
like
a bad name.
yeah, uh,
Yeah.
so like he's he so
Hello. 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 I can't hear you, man. Hold on. Let me see here. Oh, something's going on.
oh
Oh, there
there you
you
go.
are. Okay, gotcha.
Okay.
All right,
No, I was
cool.
just saying that he's supposedly he's a killer on Skid Row
Mm-hmm.
in LA, and he's a serial killer, and he's finally gonna go for the main character. She's a bait. And he's liking what he's talking about. He's looking a little
Yeah,
where
he's a
is
creep.
that? He's a creep, yeah. And
Yeah.
then she meets up with him, actually meets up with him.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's pretty creepy, honestly. Like the way it's set up, the lighting, it's like he's in the dark. You see his hand go right next to her. It's playing the slot machine. Like it's like all this like and it's
Yeah.
build up a little tension a little bit, And she's
Mm-hmm.
like watching this porn,
Of
and
rape.
like the rape, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, what like and then like towards that end of that little act or not act the little shot scene right there,
Right.
he asked her to turn around, and it's a really deep voice, and like she turns around and she's like, "Oh my god!" And you kind of see him come
Yeah.
out of the darkness, and you kind of see something on him, but like it's like you don't really see much.
Right.
They shoot him, and he escapes, and now pretty much the rest of the movie, you're trying to find out
What
who
happened?
Eddie is and what's going on. Why is he
Yeah.
killing people?
Yeah. I gotta say the part of the movie that worked the best for me is the opening sequence where you have the reporter going to meeting up with a stalker, with a fucking killer who's like clearly stalking her and putting her, and not only is she putting herself in danger, but her job is putting her in danger. And what I really like is that, for the lack of character development that this movie does have, and it does actually start off with a very interesting dynamic where the wife is this, everybody keeps telling the husband, like, your wife is a very brave girl. She's a girl, not a woman, by the way. She's a brave girl.
Mhm.
And basically what I really like is that it sets up this dynamic where this dude is insecure because his wife is way braver than him. He's staying behind, and it actually kind of reminded me of the opening of Dawn of the Dead. By the way, all the background of the news station and all that. It reminded me a lot of Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like it sets up this dynamic where the guy is the more like he's the more vulnerable one. He's like the the bigger coward, and the wife is just like ready to put herself out there. Like she doesn't even have his last name, you know. And so basically, like this is sort of the story, or at least it's set up to be the story of a man who's going to have to reclaim his manhood, and a woman who's going to have to trust her husband again. I thought that's what this movie was going to be about. Um, Unfortunately, all the character development kind of stops after the first act. Like it just kind of stops there, and it just kind of makes way for a very wacky, kind of fun action movie, or horror movie, but not one that really kind of like doesn't gel together very well. Oh, I think Dom just again. There he is. Hey, you good there, man?
Yeah, I'm good. Are you good?
Yeah. What'd you hear last?
So I hear last is he's trying to reclaim his manhood. That's the
Yeah.
whole thing you're about to like. You thought that was going to be like a plot.
Yeah. What I said after that was that I guess that's the character development stopped after the first act, is what I said.
Mhm. So I agree. So like throughout the movie, there's still like a plot, but it's just the characters aren't developing. They're just it's like the movie acts like the characters are already developed, so therefore
Yeah.
you can move on with the plot. They should have at least had some character development here and there instead of just this intimate scene of some kind, saying,
Yeah.
"Oh, what's out there? Oh, what's that? Come back to bed."
Right.
So it's like, just stuff like that. Just barely any time to have the characters come in, except for that one scene. Like I think it's like the end of the second act
Mm-hmm.
where she starts yelling at him because like he slept with
Well, okay,
oh, wait,
we're
wait, wait,
getting a little
wait,
bit into
wait, wait.
spoilers there. Getting a
Spoilers,
little
little
bit to
spoilers.
spoilers. Let's try to keep it a little more
But what I'm
general.
trying to say is that there's like at least one after first act in the opening,
Mm-hmm.
at the least,
Right.
not a lot. But yeah, I agree on that. Yeah.
Well, I mean, the thing is that the thing that comes right after the initial exploration of this couple that has this dynamic where the man is more feminine and the woman is braver, is this whole concept of like this new age therapy kind of thing. And the very first line, the very first word of the movie after the opening credit, like sound design stuff, is repression. That's the first thing that the doctor, who ends up being the guy who runs the colony,
Mhm.
that he sends the husband and wife to, the first word is repression. Um, and so yeah, like when you start your movie off with a word like repression, that's supposed to be what your movie's gonna be about. But I mean, repression kind of sort of has it carries on, but it's not explored. I think the movie just acknowledges that repression exists, and then that's it. And then that's about as complex as the thematic elements go. Really, I think what this movie was made for was to showcase the incredible, amazing practical effects and makeup.
Absolutely, I agree. Before we get to that makeup, I just want to say the opening credits is actually an interesting opening visually. It's
I
like
agree.
cutting it out of like the audio from TV, and then you hear like this and that, and I think that's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Mhm.
So yeah, the makeup effects. It's so weird, right? It's like when it comes to the werewolves,
Mhm.
it's one of the most weirdest werewolves like transformation slash werewolf looking when it comes to that. What I mean by that, it's like
Mhm.
the hands are like pulsating, and
Yeah.
it's like it looks like bubbles like
Yeah.
inside the werewolf. It's like trying to come out, and
If
I'm like,
yeah,
what?
it definitely feels like they're changing from the inside out because yeah, all the in a very I don't know this is typical. I don't know. I don't watch a lot of werewolf movies. So I don't know this is typical. But
Mhm,
what's very interesting about the transformation is that it's so inside out. Like it feels like it's literally bubbling beneath the surface
mhm.
of their humanity. And and yeah, like it expresses itself in like this bubbling, horrifying kind of like mutation. And yeah, it's very visually interesting. Very visually interesting for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, Karen. It's like the werewolf was like smiling. It's like trying to smile.
Yeah, dude, and actually, like, I really like the werewolf design. I like how it's taller and lankier, and more
Mhm,
like agile.
mhm.
Um, and I think the movie very wisely picks its close ups and picks its edits because it's very there's like one sequence where the werewolf is like evenly lit and it's so quick and it's literally like maybe like 6 frames, just enough to prove a point,
Mhm.
and then it just kind of moves on. This is very much an in the shadows kind of thing, and it's very effective. But like you said, there are some effects that are just genuinely impressive.
Mhm.
I would probably get it. There's a severed hand effect
Yeah.
that it's his hand that gets severed from a werewolf, and then the werewolf hand after being severed turns into a human hand,
Mhm. And the
and
way
it's
it turns into it is
yeah, it's
amazing.
fucking incredible. Like and I like how like in the movie like one of the last lines of the movie is somebody says it's amazing what they can do with effects these days, and it's true. Like you literally see it. They turn a severed werewolf hand back to a human hand. It is fucking great. Yeah,
Yeah, the effects in here are top notch. It's I
definitely.
gotta say, it's like in America. I'm gonna reference American Werewolf in London. In American
Uh-huh.
Werewolf in London, it's on its hind legs. It's on all four legs,
Okay.
and the werewolf transformation is painful. Like
Uh-huh.
you can see like all things are growing, like the feet are growing, the hand is growing, the spikes on the back are coming out, and it's
Okay.
stuff like that. But this werewolf transformation is more like creepier. It's like I said, like it's pulsating. It's like trying to like form itself. You know, into a werewolf, and it's more creepier because of the way the way it looks on the face. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas American Werewolf and it's like, okay, it looks like a wolf, but it doesn't look creepy. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
this werewolf, like it's like when it transforms and you see the half werewolf, half human face, it's like, oh, that's creepy, and
Yeah.
it looks good.
Well, here's the thing. I haven't seen American Werewolf in London, but you talked about it 2 episodes in a row. And it seems like that's a movie that has a lot going on thematically, with the story, with the characters and stuff like that. The problem with me with The Howling is that it really feels like it's a movie about its special effects.
Mhm.
There's a scene with a character named Terry where she gets caught up with a werewolf, and I'm not going to spoil anything here.
Yeah.
Um, but the problem is that in that scene, it starts off very tense, very scary, very tightly edited. But then the guy starts to turn into a werewolf. And it takes so fucking long. It feels like you're watching this guy on screen transform for 2 minutes, which feels like 10 minutes. To the point where like, and this is my main problem with the movie essentially, is that anytime it starts to get good, it stops being good to be about its special effects, which are amazing. They are impressive.
Mhm.
That's undeniable. But I don't think they're so good that it's worth stopping everything in the movie to show how good they are. George Lucas said it best, man, is that a special effect without a story is very boring. You
Mhm.
know, what makes a special effect great is how it enhances the story. And I do think that the werewolf design it works for the story. I love the transformation shots. I think it really ties. I think it does the horror, the body horror very well. But it's all it does. Like
Mhm.
like it doesn't offer you anything outside of this visceral experience of watching a human being turn into a fucking werewolf.
Mhm.
So I will say this though. I will say this. This movie has vibes. Is it just me, or is it a very vibey movie?
Yeah, it's like how I say it? It's like definitely an '80s kind of vibe a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell like oh yeah, it's more like the early '80s where it's like TV and it's like regular news channels like
Mm-hmm.
the way it is and um some of the some of the stuff in the little '80s but like most of it yeah it's like what you call it how do I say it? It's dark in a way
Yeah.
I guess yeah but what do you think on that?
Well, I think Joe Dante went on to make Gremlins and Gremlins 2,
Yeah.
which are very cartoony, Looney Tunes inspired kind of movies and all that. Um, and I think you see some of it here. The thing is about this movie, Dom, is that it feels like somebody's first movie. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Mhm.
It feels like a first movie of someone who's very talented, who's very capable, but who just hasn't really like they need to get this out of their way. They need to get this movie out of their system so they can go on to make better things. Um and I like Gremlins and especially Gremlins 2. Like I love the wacky manic
Mhm.
energy of it. But this definitely has those vibes, but it just doesn't execute. Did I answer your question by the way?
And what the vibe.
No, yeah. Well, the question you asked me, I don't know if I answered that.
Oh, the wait. What did I ask you again?
Oh well,
Wait.
whatever. We're already past
Okay.
it at this point.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Mhm. But
No. Yeah, but that's
yeah.
sort of what I really have to say about it is that this is a very vibey movie because like it has that hazy kind of look that a lot of
That dirty
like
look.
no not
Mm.
well a little bit
Country.
dirty, but it also
Mhm.
kind of has that like hazy soap opera look throughout
Mhm.
some of the shots, especially like in the first half of the movie before we get into sort of the greater story that's happening. Um, but it's a very vibey movie. Like I found it weirdly slow. Is it just me, or does it get very slow after Act One?
It does a little bit for me, but then I think it picks back up when a
Yeah,
certain
no,
scene.
the third act is great.
Yeah.
I really like the third act, but the
Mhm.
entire second act, it feels like a fucking. It feels like it feels like Solaris by
Yeah.
Kartovsky. If you've ever seen that movie, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. But yeah. No. It's yeah. Second act's pretty slow, but third act, yeah, it picks up and it goes all in. But yeah. This. But so you got to see about like the non spoiler.
No, I think we're ready to go into spoilers.
All right. Let's
Definitely,
go into spoiler. Spoiler.
we're going to
Spoiler.
spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. If you ain't seen the Howling, you need to get the fuck out because we're gonna start spoiling shit. Dom, what did
See.
you think of the whole new age aspect of the movie?
I liked it when it picked up. I would say, in my opinion, it picked up when the husband goes out and gets laid.
Yeah,
with-
yeah, I agree. I agree. It's weird, right? Because like the way that it plays out is that we have the first act, which is really good. I really like the first act a lot. Like I actually think it's great. But then we go to the second act, and it just feels like we spent like a good 40 minutes meeting people. You
Yeah,
know?
you're just meeting like the colony people and just getting to know them, I guess, in some way, tennis. But like, yeah, you're just getting trying to get to know these people first,
Uh-huh.
and then we get to the good stuff, I guess you can say,
Yeah.
with the special effects in the third act with the high
And the
tension.
sex.
Yeah, so yeah,
Marsha is a good looking woman. Let's be real
yeah,
here. Yeah.
yeah. No wonder he guy with her. Dang, you gotta let whatever her name behind.
Marsha.
Yeah,
Her name is Marsha.
yeah, yeah.
No, dude. So I mean, like, okay. So what I like about the movie is that it's not hard to figure out where this movie's going after you meet everybody, especially when the old suicidal man is about to set himself on fire. You
Yeah.
know. So one thing we didn't talk about a whole lot. I just realized I'm like. Anyways, so one thing I realized we didn't talk about a lot so far is the subplot between the reporters, that they're investigating the sort of supernatural. They're investigating the werewolf aspect of it. Meanwhile, we have the main characters locked away in this like new age colony and shit, right? And the thing is, Dom, is that I actually really liked the B story more than the A story. I really liked following Terry and her boyfriend while they go uncover all this information about werewolves. Now, don't get me wrong, I appreciate that all those scenes are just exposition and they're spread out and they're like fun scenes, but the biggest problem with this movie again is the lack of character development, right? Because you have Terry and you have the boyfriend character who are like the reporters, the B team, the background people, as opposed to Bill Neal and the girl. I forget the girl's name. Do you remember the girl's name?
The character's name?
Yeah,
Isn't it like Karen?
Karen.
Was that her
There
name?
you go. Yeah. Okay. So Karen and Bill are like. So Karen is not in front of the camera. Bill is behind the scenes as like an executive, and then you got Terry and her boyfriend who are like the reporters who are doing the background research and shit, right? And I really like following their story as they uncover this werewolf plot, right? But here's the thing, and this is the best example of why this movie doesn't work very well for me. I didn't even know they were fucking. And I didn't get that from them. They didn't have those like vibes of like, yeah, we're fucking. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that wasn't there for me. So like when we cut to the midpoint scene where Karen is calling Terry to like get her the fuck out of there, and they're sharing the bed together, I'm like, wait, they're fucking? Like what? Like I mean, they have vibes and shit, but like they're fucking already. Like it didn't add up to me because this movie has no character development.
The yeah, just them like in bed together already was like, I guess the way I guess the writer or whoever their excuses. Well, in between that time when we see them, they're actually developing, and they're having their own little secret relationship. And once
Okay,
we get
but
in bed,
but
then we
it's a
find out.
movie. It's
Yeah.
a movie. If you don't see it, you don't experience it.
Yeah.
You know? I
Yeah.
mean, there's shorthand and there's ways you could develop that, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is that Terry and her boyfriend are a stronger couple than Karen and Ben and Bill. You know? They're a stronger couple. So they're more magnetic. They're more fun to watch. Because when you watch Bill, this like fucking defeated, emasculated, powerless guy, because his wife Karen, who won't even take his last name, has like bigger balls than he does to fucking put herself in danger for like journalism, essentially. Like that's just kind of sad. And to me, like, yeah, okay, so like Bill gets to bang Marsha, which is pretty dope. Good for you, Bill. But like like at the same time, like I felt good for Karen. Cause like, oh Karen, now you can leave the guy. Like now you can just leave the guy and live your fucking life because you're better. You're better than Bill, you know? So so like how did you feel about like the sort of dichotomy between the two couples at the heart of this movie? Oh my god, this is the third time this has happened. Hey, what's up, man?
Hey, sorry, it's disconnected. Wait, shoot, what were you saying? But
Okay,
we
yeah,
were talking about the couples, how Tara or is more interesting. Her
yeah.
relationship.
All I was saying was that Tara and Terry and her boyfriend are way more interesting to watch than Karen and Bill. Because Karen and Bill is like such an obvious story, whereas like Terry and her boyfriend have like an interesting working relationship and a romantic relationship. So, how did you feel about that sort of difference in relationship?
Yeah, I agree. It's like it's more compelling from Terry, and her boyfriend. Whereas like Bill is like just he's just like going around, wandering, and then he ends up meeting Marsha or whatever, and at first he doesn't like give in, and it's like wait, it's like I'm not gonna cheat on my wife, and then
Yeah.
like after that he's like okay, I'm gonna cheat on my wife.
Yeah,
I'm
but
gonna
like the thing is that like Bill is such a like he's not like a strong character. You know, the minute that like Marsha just like looks at him that he's gonna fuck her. Like, yeah,
yeah,
this guy has no fucking. He's not a fucking brave guy. You know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah, and yeah, that like I said, that scene when they do it, they they start turning into werewolves. Isn't
Yeah,
that interesting?
yeah.
Because it's like we never seen something like that on screen where it's like, oh, they're transforming at the same time.
Where the sex is so good, you turn into a fucking werewolf.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that was one of the stronger scenes in the movie for sure. I like the sort of visual metaphor going on.
Oh, sorry.
I think we all want to have sex so good that we turn into werewolves. You know, I think that's the
I
goal.
I
But
want to
it's not.
say,
Go ahead.
yeah, no, I just want to say before, yeah, we finish that. At first, I thought it was all in her head. I thought
Okay.
it was all in
Yeah. All
Karen's
right.
head at first. When you that first scene, the first act,
Uh huh.
when she's like calling Eddie, and I was like, okay, cool, calling Eddie, and then they have trouble hearing her and the caller,
Mm-hmm.
and so I was like, okay, well, how's your stuff messed up? So she goes in the horn thing, and all of a sudden he's there. Like, okay, how do you get there?
Mm-hmm.
And then she all of a sudden looks and like, and then the guy said, he's like, oh no, she's been buying movies all day or all night or something like that. I
Mm-hmm.
As if she was alone. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
it's not like the guy came in and like went in there. He's like, yeah, there's a guy in there with her. And no, he didn't say that. So I was like, okay. And then after that, she says she doesn't remember what's happening and stuff like that. I thought maybe this is all in her head, and
Uh
she
huh.
was a werewolf, and she was killing those people on Skid Row.
Right.
So, but I turned out to be wrong.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's a much more basic story. But you know, while we're talking about Karen and the werewolf thing, like I said, man, the second act really drags on. And it drags on because like, I mean, dude, what was even going on with like Terry arrives and then like spends like a whole day fucking around, you know, like doesn't even try to like get Karen out of there. And I don't know if that's explained in the movie, but I was really confused. Like
Yeah,
Karen called.
she
Go
was
ahead, go
like,
ahead.
yeah, she was like, hey, how you doing? How's the place? And I'm like, wait, hold on. She just called you to say get out of there
Right,
because
yeah.
something happened. What do you mean? Like, hey, how you doing? Is everything all
Yeah.
right?
That was the most like disconnecting thing for the movie for me was that like it really kind of broke the tension because yeah, like okay, so a little lackadaisical when we get to the colony and it feels like we spend like way too long like meeting one character one by one by one by one all in one spot. I feel like it went on for too long. And then, but then you have the scene with Neil and Marsha, and it's like, okay, well, this is going somewhere. But then Terry arrives, and you know we're at the midpoint of the movie, which is supposed to be where the stakes elevate, where the nature of the conflict changes. But we don't have a conflict. Terry arrives, and she just kind of like fucking around for a while. and then she just kind of gets herself caught up in this whole fucking werewolf scheme. Like I was just like, what? I was so deflated, honestly. Like I was like, well, what's going on, man? Like, what is this?
Mm. Yeah, it's weird, man. It's like, yeah, like I said, the tension breaks, and it's just this weird like direction that they take. It was like, okay, like act like nothing happened. It's like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, but like when she gets attacked,
Yeah.
that was pretty dope. When she,
Yeah.
oh yeah, and when she grabs the files, and by the way, she's like acting like everything's okay. Like she's looking through. It's like, okay, Quinn, like she's normal.
Oh
Like,
yeah. Okay, that part was so dumb. Like,
yeah,
you got to go for the queue. Why are you wasting all your time going through the like LSPs and like all that shit? I was like,
yeah,
that felt so fake to me. That felt like they
yeah,
were just waiting for the werewolf to show up.
yeah, and yeah, the werewolf grabs the document from the folder
Mm-hmm.
and starts attacking her, kills her. And then that's when we have Karen come in, and then that's when Eddie or Ed, whatever his name is, he comes in and he reveals himself to
Yeah.
Karen. I gotta say, like, I feel like what I love about the werewolves in this is that they're intelligent. Like, they're
Yeah.
not like animalistic. Yeah, they're animalistic, but they're not like brain dead. They're like
Mhm.
like
They
they're
retain their
smart.
humanity.
Yeah, yeah. And so when he grabs documents, the reason why I grabbed documents so she doesn't know like what's going on.
She
It's
can't
a
prove
werewolf
it
society.
essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole thing about werewolf society and how like they try to remain anonymous and they go out once in a while to go out and eat humans, and then they come back,
Oh, you
live their
gotta
life.
go ahead. You're good. You're good. Oh, hello. Oh, he cut out again. Okay. Oh no, they're good. You're good. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah.
Go for it.
So, yeah, so the werewolf society, they go out once in a while, they eat people to,
Mm-hmm.
survive, and they come back and they do whatever they do the thing at the colony, and they try to stay anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that part and why they're doing what they're doing, but at the same time, it's just there's some evil intentions behind it sometimes too.
Oh yeah.
Is the doctor also a werewolf?
Yeah, I think so. I think by the end it's heavily implied that he was a werewolf. Yeah. I
Yeah,
think
because
everybody except for Karen was a werewolf, but then even at the end,
Yeah, because I was wondering that because I thought like the doctor found the society and was like, "Wait a second, like maybe I can help treat you guys, or maybe I can."
When he gets shot, he says thank you. You know what I
Oh yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah. Oh
and I
yeah, yeah.
feel
That's
and
good.
I feel like he's probably he's had opportunities to shoot himself before. He needed that silver bullet, you
Yeah.
know. So I mean, I think we both agree that the second act is a little bit weak.
Hmm.
But the third act is something. I like the third act a lot. It's fast, first of all. It's only like the last like 15 minutes of the movie, but it escalates very well. To
Hmm.
me, Dom, a third act should feel like a place. It feels like we arrive at there's a reason why we say we arrive at the third act, because a third act should feel like it's earned. And
Hmm.
I feel like despite all this movie's flaws and its lack of character development and its awkward pacing and weird structure and strange, this movie is very flawed. But I do think it redeems itself at the end. I think it's a pretty decent movie by the time it's over.
Yeah, I agree. It's a third act. Yeah, it picks up really well. Tension, the little scares, the effects, all that stuff comes into play at the third
Well,
act. And
yeah, well, I really like the setup where it's essentially Terry's boyfriend is trying to essentially avenge the death of his girlfriend, and then he buys the silver bullets, which were set up in Act Two. And yeah, like it's essentially, well, I mean, here's the thing, Dom, is that like it is a shootout, right? It is a shootout, but like I said, this movie does make some very strange choices that sort of rob it of any tension. Because when we get to the shootout, it's not this like intense, like quick paced thing. It's literally one person like after another getting closer to the guy until he has to shoot him. You know,
It's
it's
yeah, it's
no. Go
weird.
ahead.
It's weird because like they know at when they found out he has silver bullets, they don't stop coming to him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
Like once they found out, like he's like silver bullets, bullshit, and then he goes after him, and then he gets shot and he dies. They're like, oh shit. But then they're like, oh well, let's still go towards him. I'm like, what? Stop going towards him then. Like he has silver bullets. He's an
yeah.
idiot.
And it's literally just like, well, I don't believe he's got a silver bullet, and then he gets shot by a silver bullet, and it's like, oh fuck, it's a silver bullet. It's like, yeah. Did you not see what just happened? And it does. Like I said, man, the problem is that this movie has so many opportunities to escalate and build tension, and it just makes choices that rob it of any of said tension and any of said entertainment. You know, like this is a movie about its special effects, and its special effects are great. There's a reason why that is. I think it's earned. But you know, like if it's gonna be that, then like just cut 10 minutes out of this bitch and just like get to the point. You know?
Yeah, yeah, and that I gotta say the ending was a little sad.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was like
We have a classic tragic horror ending. I'll go ahead and let you set it up.
yeah, so
Oh, we cut out again, Dom. We cut out. Can't hear you. Hello.
there you
Oh,
go.
okay. All right. Go ahead. Set it up, bro.
Yeah, so they come back, they escape the werewolves, but she got bitten or scratched.
Yeah, yeah. She got bitten or scratched. One of
So
those two.
she's survived the werewolf attack, which means she will become one.
Yeah.
So so they go both to the station. He does his thing. He sets up this telegram or something like that for them. No, teleprompter for her to read something. It's like a
Right.
speech, and
Yeah.
she reads it, and then she then turns into a werewolf because people are not gonna believe
Live
that
on
unless you
television.
and and she turned and she tears up. I think either I don't know why either it's painful or she just knows she's dead because
Mhm.
I think that they agreed that if she turns into one that
Yeah.
she's gonna shoot her.
Yeah, yeah. Because they set up that they can change into a werewolf whenever they want, not just on a full moon.
Yeah, and so she turns into one fully hairy, and then like the other guy was like, "What the fuck? Get out of here!" I
Right.
don't know what
Yeah.
he said, but that was funny. And
Yeah,
then
because there's a good gag where when we meet him, he's talking in his professional news anchor voice. But then when ain't nobody paying attention, he don't talk like a southern fella. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And then like so like at the very end where he's like trying to keep his reporter voice, and then he sees Karen turn into a werewolf. Like, well, I gotta get the hell on out of here.
yeah.
It's a good joke. It's a joke. It works. It works.
Yeah, and everyone on TV sees it. Apparently, everyone makes a comment. People believe it. Some people don't. They think it's a conspiracy. Some people think it's fake. Some people think it's real. But
Foreshadowing.
one woman knows it's real,
Yeah.
and she is still alive, and she is wanting some steak
And
at the
apparently,
end.
yeah, and apparently there's been like what, like 6 sequels to this fucking movie. I bet none of them
Yeah.
have anything to do with Joe Dante either, right?
No, the second one's called Howling 2, Your
Howling
Sister the
2.
Werewolf.
Yeah, yeah, your
Um,
sister's a werewolf. Yeah.
and I saw honestly I saw the opening and
Okay.
so there was a girl, she's a werewolf, she got killed supposedly,
Okay.
and she came from this I guess werewolf society just like in Howling 1,
Mhm.
but that was in Romania or somewhere.
Okay.
So apparently they expand the mythology or they expand the story where it's like,
Mhm.
oh, it's not just these people over here in somewhere in the LA area. There are also people in other parts of the country that are also werewolves.
Romagna.
Yeah, Romania, Italiana.
Okay.
It's a pizza.
So you already seen some of these sequels.
No. I
Oh,
only see
okay.
the
All right.
opening.
You just kind of vaguely aware of them.
Yeah, I was very aware of them. I know there's like a bunch of them. Some of them I think went straight to DVD or video.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Because I don't know if the first one did well. I don't know. But yeah, no, I was aware of them. That's why I didn't see the first one, so that's why I picked it. So we can see it. But I gotta say, American Werewolf in London is better than this. I will say that.
Oh yeah, no, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you already made it sound like a much deeper movie. I hope we get to see that for the podcast someday.
Yeah, for sure. And also, you know what, dude? I've been thinking about it, but we should bring on this other podcast. Bring in some guests from this podcast called the Slaughter Land Podcast. So they named their podcast after a pub in American Werewolf in London.
Okay. Oh yeah. You said that last week. You're at the Slaughter Lab.
Yeah, and I hopefully we'll reach out to them. They want to come on the show. We'll talk about movies and stuff like that.
Hit them up, bro. I'll be happy to have them on.
So, overall thoughts on this movie?
Overall thoughts. This is a very vibey movie. Don't watch it for the plot. Watch it for the special effects. Do not be afraid to watch it at 1.5 speed because you might actually have a better time than we did watching it. Awkward pacing in the second act, but the first and third act are very strong. Very valiant efforts from the actors, but unfortunately, this movie's biggest weakness is its weak structure and weak character development. Again, that's fine if this movie were maybe like an hour and 20 or maybe even 30 minutes if it was a short film. Unfortunately, it's a long movie, so its lack of ambition kind of works against it. Don, what did you think?
I agree. It is it's a special effects show.
Mm-hmm.
It did feel a little slow pace for me. And it's a B movie average,
It's a B. It's a B minus movie.
Yeah, B minus movie.
Yeah.
I feel like Joe Dante did the best he could on this film. He didn't write it, so I think he just directed it. He did his best.
Yeah, I really don't think I talked enough. I really like the cinematography. The cinematography is very good. You see a lot of that wacky, like Looney Tunes vibe to some of the colored lighting in it. A lot of the Dutch angles. It's a very good looking movie. It's a very vibey movie. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and of course he went out to do Gremlins and
Gremlins 2.
The Birds with Tom Hanks.
I want to see that movie. I hear so many good things.
Yeah, that's a good movie. But I like Gremlins 1 and 2. A lot of people don't like Gremlins 2. And I like it.
It's a fucking wacky fucking fun time, dude. How can anybody not like that movie?
Yeah, it's like Gremlins 2 is like Gremlins 1.
That was like that's like part of my Thanksgiving tradition to watch that fucking movie, dude.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? Because it's like the first movie and second movie are like the same. Like that's what's crazy about it. It's like
because Joe Dante didn't want to make a sequel. He didn't want to make a sequel, so like as a fuck you, he just kind of did it again, but wackier.
Yeah, it was the same thing, but it was wackier. It's more goofy on top of that, so it kind of elevated a little bit. But yeah, that's the Howling with Joe Dante. I think his first full length feature film.
Yeah,
and I gotta say congratulations on that.
It's a miracle any movie gets made, even the bad ones. You know?
Yeah. So
we get to close out this episode, man.
Yeah. Did you want to say any final words?
I feel like I already said my piece. I'm ready to go ahead and reveal the next pick for next week, though.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so last week you said something that kind of threw me off a little bit. You said you've never cried at a movie.
Oh yeah.
This week we're gonna make you cry, Dom.
Oh.
We're gonna watch one of my favorite movies, 2013's Beasts of the Southern Wild, which I don't think is available on any streaming service, but I'm pretty sure you could rent it. And it's you know what, Dom? I'll save it for the next episode, but I love that fucking movie. Oh, we got one last lag sesh here. He's going to come back any minute now. I'm going to go ahead and take this opportunity to promote my films, which can be found on Pop Counterculture, where you'll see my last movie, Unearned Pilot. If you check the playlist Older Works, you'll see all my other films and music videos. My music is under Ed Y Los Guardos. If you're Spanish, you know how to do it. If you're don't speak Spanish, ask a Mexican how to type that out. It's available on all major music services. Dom, anything you want to plug?
Yes, I would like to plug in. Did you want to plug in your other YouTube, your
Oh, I already did.
Horizon?
I
Oh,
already
okay,
did. Yeah, it's
okay. I
all
missed
good.
that part. So I want to plug in my other YouTube. It's called HT, aka Dominic Sinclair.
Ooh.
It's a gaming / prank channel. I've been streaming a lot and doing a lot of YouTube shorts on there. So if you can come check it out. I'm streaming almost every day. Trying to keep it consistent and play a variety of games. I mean, I play mostly 3 games almost every stream.
What are
And
those games?
Grand Theft Auto Online,
Okay.
Call of Duty Warzone,
Mm-hmm.
Red Dead Online.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Let me know
And
next time you play Red Dead Online, bro. We'll play together.
yeah. Let's do it.
I'm down.
And yeah, let's do it. And I also play Apex Legends. So that's a fun one. But yeah, Reddit. I like out of all of them, I like Red Dead Online the most.
Okay, I've been meaning to play with someone who likes to play Red Dead. So yeah, count me in for that, man.
Yeah, let's do it. So yeah, that's my YouTube. I'll type it in right here in the chat. And it's great, man.
Yeah.
It's a great episode.
Great episode.
And so next week, we're doing underrated directors and in your film. Of
Beasts
course.
of the Southern Wild.
Beasts of the Southern Wild. And
Hell yeah.
yeah. And so with that being said, everyone, if you're watching right now, thank you for watching. If you are watching after, thank you for watching after and sticking with us.
Let us know what you think of the show. Give us some feedback.
Please, we'll do anything you want.
Does my hair look okay? Should I shave my beard? Is my nose too bulbous? Tell me the facts.
If you want me to shave all my hair off, let me know. I'll do it for an episode. I'll do it. Anything you want, we'll do it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we'll leave it at that. And we'll see you next week.
All right. Take care, everyone. Peace out.
Take care.